Active then.
Yeah, pretty much.
No?
Or not, whatever you want to do.
With this group? I don't know.
However the spirit moves you today.
Uh,
So today, Jerry and John are on deck talking about foundation. I'm going to turn it over to you guys.
you ready?
And if
Go ahead.
everybody will mute themselves except for those two, that'd be great.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and start and give an introduction to John, but I'm going to give an introduction about our club and the Rotary Foundation and some of my own personal beliefs. And John's got the details about the Rotary Foundation, which is great because John has been, I think you're still the foundation chair for your district, John?
I am.
Yeah. And so I will tell you that the foundation and the tracking of the dollars associated with the foundation is a lot to do with why Rotary has heartburn about people belonging to multiple clubs. They just, that whole credit issue and tracking issue thing is a problem, but I do know they're working on it. Rotary Foundation to me is kind of an interesting thing. I believe in the foundation greatly. I personally don't like any of the stuff that comes through that says thou shalt give, or, you know, there's a minimum requirement. Some clubs do that sort of stuff. Because I think the giving from the heart is directly tied to the wallet. And so the more your heart is into something, the wallet follows really easy, okay? And I don't think it's a hard sell at all. I think the problem is people some of the people don't see the value or don't understand the foundation and don't understand the true value it gives all of us. And so John's going to talk about some of the programs and stuff. But I want to point out to you, you all get that monthly magazine, and you see all these great things that Rotary's been doing around the world. And all those great things have been possible because of our personal giving to the Rotary Foundation. I don't think John goes over the history, but the history of the thing started after one of the particular many years ago. And we're talking on the order of 60, 70 years ago, John, anyway.
Yeah. No, over 100.
It's been over 100 now. At the end of an international convention, okay, they had $20-some left over from the convention. And that was the actual starting of the Rotary Foundation. And it piddled along, and I'm going to say piddled along, up until Paul Harris died. At the time Paul Harris died, there was lots and lots of money sent in memory of him. And then it became basically a real foundation at that point in time. Today, it is a very large, I was going to talk about it later, a very well-respected foundation around the world doing many good things. Most of the project work that you see in the Rotarian magazine, and a little side note, I found out there's going to be an article about our club in that magazine in June. I think it's either June or July it's coming out. But that foundation, most of the things in there are a result of our Rotary Foundation.
If you want.
Okay. And then the other thing, I think some feedback from somewhere, guys.
Yeah, Chris, you need to mute.
Oh, sorry.
A lot of the other things, the Peace Scholarship programs, all these things that we're known for, the whole entire polio program, is because of the individual, primarily the individual giving and the club giving to the Rotary Foundation. What I wanted to share before John starts is that there's some really good stuff about our own club already associated with the Rotary Foundation. Let me see where the share window is here. Where's it at? Does this come up okay for you? You see in my spreadsheet?
Yep. On no spreadsheet, but we got your listing, your documents library.
The spreadsheet's not being shared, then I got to switch something else around. Just a minute. My apologies. Why can't I find it? Huh. Well, that's different.
Is it foundation giving that you're looking for?
Yeah, but I've got it. Oh, you know, I got to stop share before I come back. There we go. Let me just do it this way then. I just shared the wrong screen. There's the one I want to share. There we go.
Okay.
You got it?
Yep.
We currently have 26 recognized active members at Rotary International. This is our regular members, not our associate members. Again, I can't track anything with the associate members, but I would guess that the associate members are at least as committed to the foundation, because all those associate members have been regular members of other clubs for some time. Our individuals that we have in our club, there's 26 people. Of the 26 people, 17 people are already tied somehow to the Rotary Foundation financially, okay? There's 2 or 3 of us that give regularly on a monthly basis that are tied in as well. And of the listing up here, we've got the 17, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 12 people are already Paul Harris Fellows. 3 of the people are at the major donor level of giving, okay? Which means that there's been $10,000 or more given either by them or in their name to the Rotary Foundation, okay? All those that say plus marks on them mean that they're multiple level Paul Harris Fellows. Paul Harris Fellowship is a recognition that the individual has given or somebody has given in that individual's name $1,000 or more to the foundation, okay? And so we've got quite a bit of us that are already committed. In fact, it's interesting. We'd only need to bring a couple of those people a few dollars, as well as bring the rest of our people up if we chose to do so. You know, so we've got out of, let's see, 17, it's 9 people. And then we, you know, so it's somewhere around $11,000 or $12,000 of giving. We could become an 100% Paul Harris Fellowship Club if we wanted to. That's kind of significant. The club I left was a 100% Paul Harris Fellowship Club, one of the earlier on ones in the world. What that is a recognition of the club having been involved at that level at least one time in its history. And when that happens, your club name goes on a wall, permanent wall in Rotary International. And like I said, my club did that in 2001, something like 17 or 18, 19 years ago. And it's just a permanent recognition. Anyway, what the 1, 2, 3, 4th column over is a listing of available recognition points. When you get your first Paul Harris Fellowship, you know, you get recognized as a Paul Harris Fellow. After that, your contributions keep totaling up. And each time you've got another 1,000 points in there, and you get a point per dollar. Each time you get another 1,000 points, you get the opportunity to make somebody else and recognize somebody else as a Paul Harris Fellow. My wife and all my children are Paul Harris Fellows at this point in time, over giving that I've done over time, plus a few other people that I recognize as Paul Harris Fellows. I don't think my total credit's actually listed up here. These are all points that are sitting out there right now waiting for recognition. So, for instance, whoever has, and I know who the people are, I just not sharing it, but whoever has like the 7,000 points there at the top could recognize 7 additional people, including people in our club, as Paul Harris Fellows, if we chose to do so. Just some background on it. But main point here is it shouldn't be a hard sell, because we are, you know, there's a fair amount. This is actually a very good representative number of a club that do or are actively been involved with the Rotary Foundation. So it's a very cool thing. It's something I believe in a lot. Of course, I personally participate, as well as in terms of using the money. The the project work that I go on and do is a lot of them over the years has been Rotary Foundation money. I first did a Rotary Foundation project in 1999, putting in deep tube wells into Bangladesh. I've done a couple projects associated with orphanages. Another major project I did when I was governor involved with getting into a limb camp for prostheses in Thailand. Let's see, and what else have I done over there with that? Number of polio type event type things as well. So those are, you know, staying actively involved. We have new in our district this year. Not new in the district, but they've changed some of the rules. Part of the money that we give comes back to the district to be used for grants locally, smaller grants in the district for projects in district or outside the district for countries or what have you. And our district currently has these club grants available up to $2,500. They match $1 for every $2 we put in. So if we had a, say, for instance, a $7,500 project, and we put in $5,000, the district puts in up to $2,500. The process of applying for those grants is coming up shortly. And in some of the training that we've done here in the last few weeks, our president-elect Brian has actually gone through the training and the background information for that. I'll be sending him some more information. So if he chooses to put together some sort of project for us this next year, we can go ahead and apply for some funding for that right now. Used to be there was a limit that was put based on the club's annual giving. There's no limit whatsoever on that right now. But Brian's getting the details on that. He and I'll be talking. I imagine he'll be sharing some of that to us sometime in the near future. That's what I had to share. I believe in the foundation. I think it's a fantastic thing that helps us. I believe in selling it through your heart and your own personal involvement. And when your heart's attached, so is your wallet. So that's my input. And I'd like to turn it over to John to give us some more nice details about the Rotary Foundation.
Okay, thank you, Jerry. Have you turned over
I got to stop
power to me?
Hold on.
Yep. I've got a PowerPoint. Now, looks like we've got 16 people out of our membership that are participating. Understand that the foundation is the funding arm of doing club projects and global grants. Polio Plus, of course, supports Polio Plus. I'm with Jerry. I'm a strong supporter. My opinion is if you join Rotary, you become obliged to make some sort of donation. Now, I'm going to try and call up my PowerPoint. Let me know if you get this. This worked earlier today. Now, whoop. Are you able to see that? No. Are you able to see that? Is anybody able to see that?
No.
No.
Yeah, nothing's being shown.
What do I need to do?
What?
I have PowerPoint on my screen. What do I need to do to
Okay,
get
go
it?
down to the bottom. What kind of computer are you on?
I'm on a iPad or a laptop.
A laptop? If you move your mouse around, there's a buttons that show up down below, and they're in the middle. There's a green one that says share.
Okay.
You see it?
Looking.
Right below all of everybody's pictures. If you're on a PC laptop or an Apple laptop.
PC.
Okay, if you just move your mouse around, at the very bottom, that pops up with that screen. It shows like the participants, all that stuff.
Now I don't know what the hell I have. Okay, there's that.
You see the green square? It says share.
I don't see a green square.
You see chat, record, all that stuff?
Okay, there's share.
Okay. Now you pick that and the window opens up and it says what to share. You click on the thing you're trying to share, and then you click, there you got it.
Okay.
We see it.
Give me a second here. There's a slideshow. Can everybody see?
Yep.
Okay, now this is, understand, this reflects District 7390 data.
Do you want to go to the full screen mode?
All right, there's slideshow.
Go down to the lower right, and you see that little screen projector down there near the sizing. Go to the left, a couple buttons. Go to your left.
Far left, John.
Right
it
there,
says
right
file
there.
from beginning.
All right, I hit it. It's not doing anything.
Sorry. Oh, there it is.
Do you have full screen?
Nope.
No. Go.
Yeah, you must
On your
have
screen,
some.
go over to the far left, and it says from beginning, and it shows, yeah, right there.
All right, there you go. This should
There
be
you
interesting.
go.
So this is part of something out of RI, and it includes a lot of data from my district 7390. The whole purpose of the foundation is to fund projects that do good in the world. And to tag on to what Jerry said, the first donation was $23.50. And the Atlantic Convention celebrated the 100th anniversary of the foundation. I'm going to go over some stuff. And don't hesitate to ask me if you have questions. And in the year 2016-17, we used a lot of money to do projects in the world. I know Jerry's worked on some stuff. I think some of you others have had some global grants. I've been involved with some global grants. This is where we get the money. Since 1947, by actual count, a shitload of money. We are highly rated, 4 stars from Charity Navigator, some of those others. Charity Navigator, I think it's like the top 3% get 4 stars. Does that sound right, Jerry? Jerry's on mute.
Yeah, I just unmuted. I'll join in for you. If you have a problem, let me know. It's the top 3% of everything, I think it is, and we are way up in there. Or maybe it's just the top 100. I forget which.
It's a very small number, and we do that consistently.
It has to do with transparency. It has to do with percentage of the money that's actually spent on doing projects, and that whole bit. So
it's like 90 to 95% of the money that's donated goes to projects. The rest, of course, is used for administrative.
There's some years it's actually 100% going to project because some of the investments we make with it temporarily ends up funding the whole program some years. So it's
true story. I don't think that's happened in the last couple of years.
What's that?
3 primary funds that we deal with: the Polio Plus Fund, the Annual Fund, and the Endowment Fund. Now, typically, when somebody asks you to donate, they ask you to donate to the Annual Fund. That's what funds the DDF, District Designated Funds, and the global grants. Polio Plus obviously goes to polio. The Endowment Fund is what we ask people to donate to in their will, and the earnings from that go into the annual fund. Is it the Annual Fund or the World Fund there, Jerry?
The Endowment Fund goes to the World Fund, but the Annual Fund goes to the World Fund after it sat there for a couple of years too. But the Endowment Fund sets permanently. Everything that goes in there is permanent, and it's only earnings on that that's being used for other things. So the way the investment world works, it goes up and downs and stuff. And this endowment fund has gotten to a point now where it keeps our monies fairly consistent. And that's the goal of the endowment fund, was to take away those peaks and valleys of the available money from the world funds.
Okay. I never did understand this slide, but it says that we're using our funds well. The Annual Fund works on the share system. And basically what happens is when, listen, I'm going to pick on Bruce because he popped up on my screen. If he gives $100 to the Annual Fund, 3 years later, $50 will come back to this district. Bruce, are you a member of the club or an associate?
Bruce is an associate, John.
Okay, who can I pick on that's a member?
Pick on me.
Okay, so if Jerry donates $100 to the Annual Fund, in 3 years' time, half of that money will come back to our district as district designated funds. The other half will go to the World Fund for global grants. 50% to DDF, 50% to World Fund. Now, district grants, that comes from the district designated fund. And this becomes a little difficult for some people to understand. The Rotary Fund distributes that to the district annually. The district manages that fund. So my district is 7390. We have certain criteria for what we use it for. If you had a home district other than the motorcycling Rotarians, they can set up things differently than what 7390 does. But it is 50% of the DDF. A half of that DDF can be used for district grants. And Jerry talked about this a second ago. District grants are available to clubs to do good. They can do good in their community. They can use it globally. It depends on the district. Now, in my district, we make up to $2,500 available as a reimbursement to a club for monies spent. And in order to get all of that, the club would have to spend $5,000 to get the full $2,500.
That's roughly the same here in the district that our club belongs to. Okay, you're allowed to get up to $2,500, and it's for a third of the project. It has to be a new project, and it can be local. I mean, there's some that they're doing certain things in the cities here, or it can be world, or it could be whatever. But it doesn't have you don't have to have a partner club or anything like that, like you have to have with the big global grants. So
now, about this time of year, the district is gathering, our district requiring people, clubs to say, what do you want to do with it? That is put together in a spending plan. And after the district governor, and if he or she has a committee, they send that off to TRF for approval. Now, the only time I've seen something not approved is we had a club project, and it was listed as put up a Rotary sign. And that came back with, no, that doesn't cut it because that's not doing good. What they really meant to say is we're putting up I think it was like a park bench or something, which happened to have a Rotary sign. So we just had to change the wording. Very broad-based. As long as you're doing good in the community. In my district, we've put up fences around baseball diamonds. We've put up backstops. We've purchased kitchen equipment, any number of things. And again, as Jerry said, it can be used on an international project. In our district, it has to be a unique project. So if you want to use it, the DDF or your district grant money for a scholarship, you couldn't fund a scholarship year after year after year. It would have to be a different project. You could use it to get it started. Jerry, is your district any different?
The district, it's basically the same dollars and stuff. And by the way, our grant applications are due May 15th for this next year. They are setting some monies aside for unique projects to come up during the year. That's the first time that's going to happen this year for us. Because you can go back to Rotary International and keep applying as long as you got money left in your DDF approvals. And by the way, it's supposed to be a big year for us because 3 years ago, we had $1 million dinner, and some of those were multi-year pledges, but we ended up with over $1 million of pledges that year. So the DDF money is going to be pretty good here. We expect to be able to fund every club's first request for a project. So in this year, we're actually asking for tiered requests because we'll go to round 2 and round 3 and round 4 if some clubs have multiple requests. We have one club, for instance, got 300 members, and they'll put in 5 or 6 requests. The money is, like I said, $2,500. You asked me another question about it. Oh, it has to be unique, and the club has to be actively involved. I can't come in and say, I have a project where I want to give $7,500 to United Way. Club's going to give $5,000. We'll give $2,500. It's got to be actively involved somehow. Now, of course, the work I do in Guatemala, if we chose to do something like that, I'm an active participant from our club. That's a no-brainer at that point. If we're going to do something locally in the United States or Canada, and we got something we're going to do about maybe bike riding or something, help support something like that, as long as we had some sort of active participation by at least one of us, we're going to be fine.
And that's fairly close.
It has to be a new project. It can't be next year's bicycle project.
Right.
It could be phase 2 of next year's bicycle project because that's new. But there's ways to do things right.
Okay. Sources of funds. For the DDF, 50% of the annual fund. That is those donations made to the annual fund 3 years ago. Half of it comes back to the district. Any interest from the endowment fund any rollover. Now, rollover money can only be used for global grants. And then closed foundation grants. Now, this is our district. Don't pay any attention to the monies. This is just money that we have available in 7390.
That's going to be over 200,000 in 6380 this year.
Now, and for 1718, in our district, we have an allocation committee, which consists of the governor-elect, the who is going to be the immediate past district governor, the governor nominee, the DRFC, and I think 2 other people. And this is how we allocated our money. We decided to give 20% of our DDF to Polio Plus. That's an option. You can no longer fund group study exchange. We decided on 68,000 for global grants, club awards. We call them club awards. They're actually district grants. You can use up to 3% of your DDF for administration. We use it for club runner, and then we also hand out 2 scholarships.
I will tell you that the only thing that's not on there that shows up on our district level is the World Peace Scholarship stuff. And I'm not even sure if that's showing up anymore because we may have all of those Peace Scholars endowed now. One thing to be proud about this district is we were basically the first district on board for that World Peace Scholarship program. One of our PDGs, Virginia Norby, was the key figure behind all that, getting that going with Rotary International. And one of these days, I'm going to have her do a club presentation to us.
Some things we're considering. We want the community to know that Rotary's involved. People in the club can see this is why we give. We try to get the community involved in Rotary. And does the community actually have psychological ownership of the project? That's about all I have to say on that. Global grants are doing good in one of the 6 areas of focus. You can go look at those. It's awarded by the foundation and is matched with the World Fund. So the minimum match is $15,000, which means that the district somehow has to come up with $15,000 minimum. That can be through.
A lot of these are actually club projects too, major club projects, not just the district.
Well, this is we're on global grants at this point, though.
I understand, but a club can do a global grant.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So a club can do one, a district can do one. In our district, we have a bias toward clubs doing it. It can be multiple clubs. It can be clubs from other districts. It can be other districts. But basically, that means that the minimum grant project must be $30,000. The maximum is $200,000. It's an online application, and it has to be done by clubs who have been certified as having been trained on grants. In our district, we have an all online grants training module. Others will have a foundation grants seminar. It's up to the district to certify that. Plus, they have to have each club who's participating has to sign a memorandum of understanding with some language that certainly makes sense. These
The
are the
largest project I was actively involved with was $155,000 about 7 years ago.
I am currently involved in a sanitation and water project in India for $90,000. They only asked our district for $30,000.
Very nice.
Global grants must be in one of these 6 areas of focus. You've seen them before. And the people at TRF check this to make sure. Something that is new this Rotary year is there must be a formal community assessment in the area of the project. It can't be, yeah, this is a good idea. It's the project, wherever it happens to be, they have to do a formal assessment and explain why they need it. Now, Polio Plus, one of Rotary's primary functions, of course, is to eliminate polio in the world. If you make a donation to Polio Plus, which is a different fund than the annual fund, Bill and Melinda Gates, you may have heard of them. They have bucks. They will donate $2 for every dollar that you donate, up to, what, 250 million, Jerry? I've forgotten the amount.
50 million.
Thanks. It's a sizable chunk of money. And this is all used to help eliminate polio in the world. Rotary's function in polio elimination is advocacy. We buy some supplies. My understanding is we do not actually buy the vaccine, but we promote it. We work with CDC, WHO, the local government, in order to do this. If you ever get a chance to go on a National Immunization Day, I recommend it. It is a rewarding experience. Because of Rotary, this is the red countries is where Rotary, where polio existed in 1988. And in 1988, there were like 1,000 cases of polio a day reported. Rotary got involved. The first area we got involved was the Philippines because of connections with the Rotary International president. We are now down to 3 countries, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and I believe it's Nigeria. This year so far, I think there have been 7 cases of wild polio virus reported. Anybody have any different information?
Yeah, this is Larry. I got an update last night at my club meeting that I believe it was 6 cases total. I think it's 4 in Afghanistan and 2 in Pakistan and 0 in Nigeria. 0 in Nigeria for the past 2 years.
So if they get through the year with 0, they will be declared polio free.
Actually, come August is when the declaration is supposed to be.
Was it August? Okay.
Nigeria again.
The challenge in Afghanistan and Pakistan, there are several. One is some of the kids are in really remote areas. 2, a lot of the tribal chieftains believe that because Americans are involved, there's something bad in the vaccine. You've probably heard of vaccine workers, especially in Pakistan, being shot. That puts a damper on vaccination efforts. But we're moving forward. The endowment fund is where we hope you will leave some money in your will. Sure. Okay, these are some feel-good things. We want you to donate. To the endowment fund, you can make an outright gift, or you can make a commitment. And that commitment or the outright gift can consist of cash money, a codicil to your will, transfer of stock or real estate, anything like that. And I believe the minimum, I'm thinking 1,000. Is it higher than that, Jerry? Or
There's actually 2 different programs. One of them is the $1,000, which I'm signed up for. I haven't done the second one of them yet. And that one is just you make a promise, you sign a card, and they list you on that program.
That's the benefactor.
That one's pretty revocable. There's the bigger programs, which comes with all the pins and the grass crystals and recognition, just like the major donor program. That one is I think the minimum on that's $10,000.
Yes, $10,000. That's right.
And that's in your will. There's got to be legal paperwork with that, and RI helps you through that if you want to do that sort of thing. I've not made that yet. I'm getting ready to redo my stuff, so I'm about to do that sort of commitment as well.
I feel so committed that I've told my kids, you're not getting an inheritance. My money's going to the foundation. Okay, Jerry alluded to recognition. There's several levels of recognition. When you become a Rotarian, we want you to donate something. And that's called EREY, every Rotarian every year. And it used to be any amount, but I think that's been up to what? Anybody know the minimum amount for that now? I think it's like $40.
$25.
Is it 25? Mm-hmm. And then what we really want you to be is a sustaining member at a minimum. A sustaining member is someone who donates $100 a year or more to the foundation. Now, since you've done the math, you know that that comes down to $8.33 a month. Well, the foundation doesn't deal in cents. So my recommendation is, at a minimum, if you give $10 a month to the foundation, which I don't think any of us would miss, you can do that either, well, we don't have a way in our club, but you can get on My Rotary. You have a My Rotary account. You get on there, in the upper right-hand corner, there's a button that says Donate. By the most amazing coincidence, if you press the Donate button, the system will take you through how to donate on your credit card. You can do it monthly, quarterly, or annually. If you pledge $10 a month, that's $120 to the foundation. That makes you EREY qualified. That makes you sustaining member qualified. And there's all kinds of comparisons about how much you waste $10 on a month. I will tell you, I donate $1,000 a year, and that is my donation. That makes me a Paul Harris Society member. And I'm not tooting my own horn. It's just that different levels of donation have different recognition. Now, Jerry was talking about awarding a Paul Harris Fellowship, and that's when you get those points, you can recognize a person that you want to honor. In my club, we have an annual award called the Eisenhower Award. Somebody locally who's done good in the world. Part of it is they get a Paul Harris Fellowship. If you care to give to 7390, you can contact those people.
I've got all the contact people for our district, guys.
Okay. This is a complex subject, even though it's simple. What questions do you have about, and how do I get unsharing here?
If you go back to that screen at the bottom thing, or at the top, I'm sorry. I forget where. I think it's at the top left or something now. There's a place that says unsure. There you go. You got it. You're an expert now.
Okay, let's not get carried away. There's a lot of acronyms. There's a lot of different levels. We have a heavy preponderance of people in the Motorcycling Rotarian Club that donate. It's real easy to donate. It's a good project. What are your questions?
John, doesn't the club get points for what the members donate or something like that?
The club doesn't get points. The club gets points when the club makes a donation as a club. A lot of clubs over the years will make a donation of, say, for instance, $1,000 to polio from club fundraising. And then the club gathers points as well. We currently don't have any club points in our club.
However, you as an individual can donate points for the club to use if they want to recognize someone. Just as an example, and I'm not suggesting we do this. Last week we had two good presenters. If the club decided it would be fun to, or a good idea to recognize them with Paul Harris Fellows, between all of us, we could have said, okay, I will donate $1,000 to a Paul Harris Fellowship for that person. That makes sense?
Okay. Yeah, my last club had, I don't know, 75,000 points or something. Must have been over a long period of time.
A lot of clubs built that up in the earlier years of Polio Plus, and they made their donations to polio and it built up, and they never used the points to recognize anybody. Some clubs, they collect money and collect it into a fund from each of the members, but the individuals aren't getting credit, and then the club puts it in all at once without giving credit to the individuals. That's happened. Some clubs, they plan their fundraisers so a certain portion of it goes to the foundation, which is great, and then they build up points that way. I would bet the clubs that have the larger numbers are clubs that have done a lot with polio in the earlier years and didn't do anything with it from that point of view. I used to belong to a club that had like 20,000 points, and it was all polio money.
Yeah, I was going to say that the fundraising is a way for the club to get points. We do a 5K, 10K trail run, and a portion of the proceeds go to Polio Plus. So that's a contribution from the club to the Polio Plus. So the club gets points, and we have a very active foundation chair. And what he does is he looks at the club points and he looks at the points that individual members have, and then looks at members who are not Paul Harris Fellows, and he goes and uses the points and makes our other members Paul Harris Fellows. And so for the second time, we will be an all Paul Harris Fellow club because we've been proactive in using those points to get other people up to Paul Harris level.
I've done it, Larry. I've done it with some of my monies that I have points for. I've gone to individuals in the club that, in my previous club, that weren't yet a Paul Harris, and I says, look, you know how it's $1,000 to be a Paul Harris? I'll give you 500 money of my points if you put in $500 and get them actively involved.
I agree with Jerry. I think this is me personally. Larry, your club makes its own decisions, and I'm fine with that. I think people should get Paul Harris fellowships with some sort of donation.
Yeah, they do. So if somebody's sitting at $500 that they've put in, we'll put in another 500 or something. But yeah, we definitely get them some skin in the game before we give them points. Definitely.
And that's a club choice. Now, this is sort of a segue into something else. Districts typically don't spend all of their DDF, their district designated funds. Those funds that are not actually expended on district grants, Polio Plus, administration, scholarships, whatever, at the end of the year, that is rolled back into what I call the bank. And that is money that is available to the district only for global grants. Now, I don't know how this district is doing on that, but a couple of years ago when I was district governor, by the way, you're never supposed to say when I was district governor, we found out we had a sizable chunk of change in our bank account, and we were able to fund a sizable global grant out of that. So, Jerry, I don't know if you have contacts with the district, but
I do. I'm actively involved. We spend our money.
The district does?
We spend our money.
But as John Yuko says, there's a lot of money that's available for global grants, and this district should check and see if there's some available. We
work hard on making that spent, and we look for the global grant type stuff that's going on in the district and how to support that. And like I said, I think we funded 3 or 4 of the Peace Fellowship things as well. Those were $50,000 at a pop back then. But we've been good about keeping our leftover money low.
But
and I'm gonna be asking about that shortly, actually. So I'll get an update soon. But that money stays well used. It's pointless to me to have those things. I know of districts that have hundreds of thousands of dollars sitting,
and it's doing no good.
That's just not doing anybody any good.
And
I'm not a big, I know we've talked about, and I kind of hope we get around to doing it eventually, having our own 501c3 set up in our club here. But I'm not big about keeping those numbers full. I know clubs that try to build that sort of thing up to $1 million and then live off of the funds that come out of it. I'm more into, if the money's there, let's spend it. That's me. It doesn't do any good sitting there. It just doesn't. That's me.
Now, I'm going to ask Chris and Jerry this question. That money that is rolled over, if it's not spent, what is that fund called?
I don't know.
I call it the bank account. For the associate members, it might be
still DDF, honestly.
It's DDF.
But it's stuff that rolled over and now only available for global grants.
I'm not sure about that.
At the end of the year, if you don't spend it, it rolls over into your bank account.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's only available to global grants. I think that's a district choice. I'm not sure.
I thought it was. Go ahead, Chris.
My understanding is that if you don't use all of your district block grant money, that money rolls into, if it's not used, it rolls into the World Fund. but your global grant money on the district side of DDF does accumulate from year to year. It does not roll to the World Fund.
My understanding that rollover is available only for global grants. But the point I want to make is for associate members, you might want to check with your district to see if there's money available for a global grant, because our club, or this club, because I'm an associate member, this club could start a global grant and tap into your district's money if they so designated.
I was just on there's a water project going on in Guatemala right now. Not one that I'm actively in as participating, but we were just checking up on that. We've got multiple districts that are actually doing exactly that. It's a rather large water project that's going on. And
yeah, a lot of districts don't know they have that money.
yeah.
Other questions, comments? President-elect Brian, you need to know this stuff.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah, sorry I showed up late, guys. I had a little meltdown with my family earlier, so.
Hey, Brian. I don't know if it sunk in on the pre-pets that you attended with me, but we do have monies. We, in terms of doing a grant, if you decide that's what we want to do. I will be done with all the pets stuff here come the end of this weekend, and then I've got to deal with the district assembly in April. But in between then and now, I'd be glad to get on the phone with you and chat with you more about any of the missing stuff or stuff that you didn't come through very cleanly while you were on, because Brian participated in one of our pre-pets here, but he did it through a Zoom meeting. And so that was a little awkward. We learned a lot, but I'm going to try and electronically get you the packet that we handed out for district grants,
Right.
club grants.
So, yeah,
We've got to submit by May 15th if we want to get one.
exactly. So that's the real question that we need to talk about is, hey, what's the.
This is, hey, Sparky for a second. I'm going to interject for a second. This is Governor-elect Sparky.
Hey, Sparky.
Hey, how are you? Where's Brian?
Brian's right there.
Hey, Brian.
Right here. Come on, I recognize you, Sparky.
Good to see you again. Well, he's got so many faces here, and they're so beautiful, I couldn't figure out one from the other.
Sparky's was just in another meeting in the other room with all the assistant governors, so
Yeah.
we're dual purposing here from Kalamazoo.
So, Brian, Linda Hatfield says hi. You're assistant governor.
Okay, great.
Take care of those motorcycle guys.
And Linda, don't be surprised you get a phone call from this guy. He wants to know how to get these recorded meetings up on the internet. So.
Yes, please. We'll be in touch because we recorded ours tonight, and we need to know how to take it from there to the next step.
Piece of cake.
Thank you. I love cake.
Hey, Sparky, have you heard the
Makes all of
traditional?
our internet stuff piece of cake, guys, if you don't know it or not.
Sparky, have you heard the traditional district governor training?
No, not yet.
I'm going to enlighten you.
I'm ready.
As district governor nominee, they take away your ability to speak. As district governor elect, they take away your ability to think. As district governor, they give you your ability to speak back.
I'll warn you, Sparky. You're looking
Yes.
at 4 past district governors in this crowd too.
Well, everywhere I go, I always say that I'm practicing to become a past district governor. So bear with me as I hug this microphone for 20 minutes.
Well, the good news is past district governors are endowed with all knowledge of everything.
Yes, I know.
And then some.
I've been so informed. Please don't be afraid to share.
No, we want
Right.
you to learn on your own.
Foundation stuff. We got
You guys
Chris
get on.
well versed. We got Jerry who's well versed. I like to think I'm versed. Any questions on it?
I'm usually in reverse, but
He's got some any questions on the presentation.
oh, okay.
Any other questions from anybody? John spoke there for a little bit there. He says, we all have an account at Rotary International. And I want to reemphasize that. You all have a login ID at Rotary.org. If you're a regular member of our club, that login ID is associated with the email that you have registered with the club. That so that when you get a club email from anybody in the club here as a regular member, that is your portion of connecting into the Rotary International ID system. So if you want to go to Rotary.org and you want to do some sort of a regular thing like John's suggesting, I do a monthly thing. I know several other people do here that are on screen actually. And you can go log into that, get that all set up there online.
I think you also need your member number, and you can find that either through our club secretary or look on the address of your Rotarian magazine.
I just did my annual giving, and it didn't ask me for my member number. I just logged in.
Okay.
And
I don't think you need your member number if you're doing it on with your account. You might need, I don't think you need your member number to log in either.
You only
might
need your member.
set up your account. I'm not positive.
Yeah.
If
You
you
only
ever
need your member number to create the account.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you need that number, like John said, it's on the back, it's on the label of your magazine. I think we've been very good about getting everybody current with, when we get the member number, we have that on our active list. So if you're an active member, you can go in, log into our club website, go to your profile, and it's in there under the Rotary information. And our system is locked with Rotary International system, so that update should occur back and forth all the time.
Okay, Jim has a note that he has a district grant that he wants, that I've been involved with, but my voice isn't coming up on Zoom.
Oh, cool, Jim.
Where is Jim? There's Jim. You're,
Jim's one of our regular members, guys.
Doesn't look like you're muted.
Maybe muted on his end.
He's not muted.
No, he's
He's
not.
turned off.
But he's still not transmitting.
Mm-mm.
You on a PC or Apple thing? PC. Is it a laptop or is it has it got a microphone in it?
Can't hear a word, Jim.
Anything on you, Jim?
A hardware problem, maybe?
Well, you may have to do that by email or chat. There are only two restrictions on using Rotary funds that I am aware of. One is for anything involving abortions, and the other is on anything involving guns. Are there any others, Jerry or Chris?
Generally, they don't like, bottom line, you don't like bricks and Band-Aids. Buying property and maintaining property is a long-term issue that it's difficult. It's also political sometimes in a lot of countries. So they don't like you dealing with permanent structure type stuff.
Although there is a new provision that you can build a basic school.
Yeah.
I think
but generally that's a different ballgame, but the deal there is, the long-term maintenance and support costs, plus the issues of losing the money in terms of, in certain countries anyway. The other thing is Band-Aids, the feel-good projects. You really, Rotary really wants to be focused on doing real things with making real solutions in the long term.
Okay, Jim writes, Jerry, are you familiar with the Mexico mission trip that I have received 2 district grants for? I have a phase 3 that I would like to propose.
Awesome. Very cool. I am not familiar. Is there maybe something we can get on the phone next week, you and I, and talk? I'm sorry, I'm buried this week, but let's do that, okay? Is there somebody here in the district?
Part of that?
What's
Develop a vocational
Can I be a
program.
part of that call? I'd like to get as many.
That'd be great, Brian. We could do that. In fact, what I'll try and do is somehow get on the phone with Jim and help him sort out whatever the issue is with the sound. I'll get it next to my PC as well, and then if we can get that solved first, then we'll do it a video conference call.
Oh,
But
okay,
if not, we can do it on a phone conference too.
Jim, your last message got cut off. All I got is it's to develop a vocational program to train the local.
While he's typing that in, I want to tell you all a little background about Jim. Jim and I have known each other for quite a long time. He lives in Wisconsin in a very beautiful area, except he likes the snow more than I do. He's been there couple years, 2 years now, I think it is. And Jim used to belong to one of the clubs I helped start here in our district a number of years ago. In fact, I think you're a past president, right, Jim? Yeah. And so, and we've been good friends for a long time. And then he moved out of the district, and he was in process of looking for a club when we latched onto him. So he's got, even though he lives in Wisconsin, he's got active history with the current district our club is in. So it's kind of cool. So I'm thrilled about, I didn't know about you having a district grant type thing. So that's really cool. Your text isn't coming through though, Jim. I don't know what's going on.
While you're waiting for him, Jerry and John, it's Glenda from Wyerton. And soon after I joined Rotary, I was appointed the foundation chair in our local club. And the president that year, it was not easy to propose foundation because the president didn't believe in it. And when I asked him why, he said, I feel that we donate enough of our personal time to Rotary and the community, and that should be sufficient. And I wondered how you would have responded to that.
I will give you a little bit of a side note, but similar to that sort of thing. When I first getting involved with the foundation, I first learned about it, found out the great things it was, got involved with a project. And I dealt with, and my club at the time used to be, you don't donate and get a Paul Harris. That's an honor. That's an award. You shouldn't give money for that. You don't get to buy your own award. And there's still clubs around the world that are like that. Fortunately, a lot of that has gone away, but that's a little bit of, I think, what was going on as well, is that people got a little bit disgusted by that. It's not an award. It doesn't say Paul Harris Award. Or I hear a lot of people say Paul Harris winners too. It's a Paul Harris Fellowship recognition. It's a recognition of the money, and the value of what that money does is the true award. The $1,000 that's given out to do something. I mean, that might be 2,000 kids that don't get polio. It might be 300 girls that get to go to school and actually put together a life for themselves. It could be somebody learning how to read. It's an amazing thing that you do. And what you get to recognize is you get to get up in the morning, look in a mirror and say, hey, I'm worth something because somebody else has actually done something with that money. And that's the important part of it to me. There's different people that have different misgivings about a lot of things. I just dealt with, and I think Linda and Brian, you saw my email that went out this week about people associated with the project work I did in Guatemala. We raised, I think, on the order of $10,000 from a number of Rotary clubs to do that work. And then somebody, I bought first-class airplane tickets long before that project because I needed the space for traveling, all the stuff we were bringing in. I brought in almost 200 pounds worth of materials for the clinics. And somebody was appalled that I spent the club money, the different clubs' money, on buying myself first-class tickets to Guatemala. People have a total misunderstanding of these projects. You go on these projects, it's out of your pocket. The money's totally spent on the project, not on, we don't even pay for the food that we have in clinic when we're there. That's coming out of our personal product. All the people that go on those. A lot of people think they go on these trips and somebody's magically funding that. That's not the way it works in the Rotary projects. Your person on that, I don't understand that. I deal a lot with people say, hey, we made our money here, we spend our money here. I wish they'd go on a global project. Right. It's not a fair statement. It's what I'm going to make right now. It's not a fair statement because there are people poor all over the world that have issues for a lot of different reasons. But for the most part, I deal with the poorest of the poor in countries I go to. And I come back here and I think we don't have poor. We have people that choose to be lazy. And that's not a very fair statement, but there's some things about people that don't understand poor and don't understand who are the people that we think we should be responsible for to help. And so that I hope that helps you a little bit.
Yeah,
I've dealt with that same sort of stuff in my own former club years ago. It goes up and down and up and down. And it's people's perceptions. It's natural people dynamics. It's not just Rotary.
Right. Yeah. And it's so easy to donate every month. It comes off your credit card automatically, and once you set it up, you're done. You know, it's done. It's easy.
I do it that way, so my wife doesn't know how much I get.
And again, we are an international humanitarian organization, not a local. It's good that we do local projects, but we're here to take care of the world too. I don't know where to go on this, but I agree with what Jerry said.
We're here to make a difference, and we do.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Hey, Larry, can I pick on you?
Sure,
Will you lead us in the four-way test?
certainly. All right. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is that how we do it?
Yep.
Sure.
Okay, is it the truth?
Sure.
Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
And number 5.
Will it be done?
Done.
There you go.
Hey, is it cold there, Larry?
I'm sorry?
Is it cold there?
It has been. We're on a warming trend. It was in the 40s today. It'll be in the 50s tomorrow and 60s by the weekend.
I sure miss it, but I don't know that I miss it that much being in Florida.
Yeah. I was talking earlier. We had a ton of snow in February, and just the snow falling from the air raised the level of Lake Tahoe 1 foot.
Wow.
You can keep that crap there.
I saw this morning, a picture of Highway 80, and I've never seen that much snow up there in Truckee. That's just amazing.
Yeah.
Hey, Jim, I think that 6 inches is heading towards you, isn't it? You keep it there. Don't let that come to Michigan.
All right.
I
Thanks,
think the
John and Jerry. That
snowmobile
was
is
really
bigger
good.
than this motorcycle, guys.
All right. Board meeting after, so if you're on the board, anybody else wants to come join us? It's fun. It'll be quick.
Otherwise, we'll see you next week.
We'll
Yeah.
see you next week.
Signing off. See you later.
Bye, guys.
Adios.